Hi, I'm TG Cardo. This is the third and final part of our Northdale Village series. Just a little map that I started with no plan, and well, now we're done with it. Let's jump on in. First things first, I did build the border off camera just because I don't find that to be a very engaging thing to watch, but I built the framework and I'll color it in. Next thing, this crest that I'm putting down here, I wanted to talk about that for a second. The crest that I'm drawing on here is intentionally simple. There's so much going on the map, I don't want to pull people's attention away from that. It's just one shape representing the two bridges across the river. I'm using mute colors. I don't want it to blend into the background, but I'm trying to avoid having it stand out. This part here I did want to talk about because I just think it looks really cool. But as I was building this like letterbox to put all the text in at the bottom, there was a bunch of color that was spilling over the edge of that. I thought, this looks really, really cool, but the color makes it seem messy rather than intentional. And so I went through and painted over the top of it with that same sort of mute, like grayish color, so that I could use a texture blender and pull it all down. And I think it turned out really, really cool. In particular, I really like the way that it almost feels like the forests are continuing past that border on the bottom. And I do want to point out here, I had a little bit of a technical issue where I couldn't get my normal screen cap program to function, and so I ended up using Clip Studio's time-lapse feature where it'll capture a time-lapse video of your project and then export it as an MP4, which is really cool, except that when I screen cap it, it takes the entire screen, right? But when I pulled up the MP4 that Clip Studio has saved for the time-lapse, it's just the canvas itself and nothing else around it. Everything else is black. So it's great to know for the future. I think I can use that to make more high-quality videos, but in this case, you might find it a little jarring that the image on the screen suddenly changes quite sharply. So after I have finished putting some flair on this text box on the bottom, I'm just going through, I'm adding a little more in the way of highlights. I'm adding text finally. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the lore, I guess, of these names. I will probably get to that at some point in the future. They are connected. It's a thing. It's a whole big thing, but so immediately you'll see me going in and lightening up around the bridges and around the banks of the river, and I'm messing a lot with the various layers of color that I have, in particular around the trees. And then I love telling stories. I'm a storyteller. And I had a lot figured out for this map while I was, working on it. So I thought, I have all this space on the side. Maybe I could use that to provide some context for the town. So what I ended up doing was writing down a almost encyclopedic entry from the perspective of a historian in the nearby capital city, which was fun to write, but also allowed me to illuminate certain parts of it, in particular that island and why the island is significant, but also the fact that the town is very new. We're talking like 30 years at most. Like it's growing really, really fast, and it primarily has to do with the person who lives at the Loose Leaf Estate and their business acumen and ability to draw people in. And that's it. That is Northdale Village. That one only took 7 or 8 hours. Most of my map projects end up taking somewhere closer to 15 hours to do. So it's been a pleasure. I am Gigi Cardo. I make maps that tell stories.